Welcome to Bleav in Chargers. Earlier this week, we did the recap of the Chargers v. Raiders game. Now we are on to the preview of the Chargers versus Panthers coming up on Sunday out in Carolina. Going to be a long trip for me, Lo. Feels like I'm back with the Lakers when I used to go on these East Coast roadies for 10 days. We're taking off on Friday, and we are staying in Charlotte all week long because we got back-to-back weeks, 10 a.m. Pacific time starts. So why not get the guys acclimated to the schedule on the East Coast, because it goes Carolina and then Pittsburgh, both in the Eastern time zone. Going to stay out there and hopefully be coming back with 3 wins in our pocket. Since you're taking me away from the beautiful Southern California weather for 10 days, I expect 2 wins when I come back.
Absolutely. Money, tell me, what are you going to do, Money? Because there's no ocean for you to get out there and get your morning. What are you going to do for your cerebral? What's going to be your routine this week, man? Tell me about it, Money.
There's not an ocean out there. There's not. I have already connected with my man Kyle at Ocean Salt down in Charleston, South Carolina, because there's a little bit of a hurricane swell coming through low. So Sunday night, I'll be renting a car and driving down to Charleston and hitting up a spot down there. I reached out to a surf shop, started chatting with one of the dudes, and he was like, yeah, dude. He goes, call me Sunday night when you get in. I'll bring you one of my boards. We'll dawn patrol it Monday morning. So I'm going down there to surf Monday, Tuesday. And then I'll be back up in Charlotte. I can't go 10 days.
You're good to go.
I gotta get in the ocean. So yeah.
So they're not. So when they go to they're going to be there Friday. So you leave. So I'm just wondering for the following week when you're in Steeler country.
Yeah.
We'll
be in Carolina the whole time. So we'll be so we're not going up to Pittsburgh till that weekend. They're practicing in Carolina. So while they're doing that, Monday day off is when I'm going to hit the waves. And then Tuesday morning I'll dawn patrol it, and it's about 3 hours. And then I'll drive back up. And then DJ, great quarterback, authored the second greatest. At the time, it was the greatest upset in Appalachian State history when he knocked off Wake Forest in overtime. But they're playing on Thursday night. They're playing South Alabama, so they're stoked. DJ's in town. He got a suite, so we're all going to go out and watch some Thursday night football in Boone. Excited about that. And I'll be with the team, be at practice. I'll be doing Bleav in Chargers from the hotel in Carolina, or if the waves are really good, I'll probably still be down in Charleston because right now it looks like a storm's coming through. So if that's the case, we'll be like, where were you? I was like, I was around. You just didn't see me.
What dedication? What dedication, Money? What dedication?
I was at Snack. I saw you. I was there. And then I'll have to catch a plane to meet him in Pittsburgh. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this game. Look, the Chargers 1-0 with the great Lorenzo Neal on the great Bleav in Chargers platform here. Thanks everybody for downloading and listening and rating and reviewing. We appreciate it. But as we get into this, Lo, Carolina, I'm biased. I watched Bryce play in high school. He was incredible. JT Daniels was the best quarterback in the nation when he led Mater Dei to a national championship. And then Bryce came in and took it to a next level. I was like, dude, this looks like a team that would house that JT Daniels team that won a national championship because of how well he operates the offense. He was exceptional at Alabama. He processes so fast. And man, it has gone sideways on him. You watch that Saints game, and look, the edges were not good. Ekwonu was going to have issues. That's where you're going to attack left tackle. I mean, Chase Young was beating him like a drum, and to think what Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack or Thule or Bud might be able to do there is exciting. But at the same time, the pockets weren't that bad. The decision-making was brutal. The interceptions, on his first drop back low, throws that interception, and the second one was just clean pocket. It's got no one in front of him, airmails it, pick, and so it's kind of building off what we had last week against Gardner Minshew, and that's pressure, and create opportunities, tips, overthrows, turn them into turnovers.
When you're the face of the franchise and you're at that high level and we come into a franchise, everyone expects you to take the team to the next level. And I'm telling you, watching Bryce, he's like a deer in the headlight. I don't know if it's best now to say you pull the guy because I'm trying to save him from him. Because like you alluded to, you watch this guy play in high school and college. You're like, this is an elite athlete. This guy can process. He has the physical tools. Right now, it's above the shoulder. And now you're getting ready to play a Chargers defense that I think is way better than the Saints. A Chargers defense that's going to get better. And now you're going to be able to pin your ears back. This young man is asked to go win football games. And I don't think he has a team. And I don't think he did make some horrible throws. I just think right now he's a deer in the headlights, and the Chargers need to eat. They need to take advantage of it. Hey, look, sorry, young fella. We don't care. We're going to kick you when you're down. That's what they got to do.
Yeah, and like I said, the interior of the line was solid.
Yeah.
But what they could not do is they just could not deal with the blitz. And you know how good Jesse Minter is at disguising, at bringing blitzes from places where you don't know. You've got 6 on the line of scrimmage. Where are the 4 coming from? That was the stuff that Bryce really struggled with. He just did not see blitzes and got absolutely wiped out. Made bad decisions. Just could not, because when they rushed 4 and it held up, he looked okay. Like, there were some good, believe it or not, there were some good plays in there. That it's twofold. Like, look, this team looked bad. I don't like doing this because they're NFL teams and any team
Sure.
can win on any given Sunday. And I don't want to make it sound like this is super lopsided, but holy cow, their run defense. The Saints absolutely ran right through them like it was nothing.
Carr looked
And
like the MVP. Carr looked,
yeah,
come on. And Carr is just, and he's not, and I love the guy. Fresno State's finest, Bakersfield kid, loved Derek Carr.
yeah,
But you have to realize he looked like he was going to be MVP. Looked like this guy's a
yeah,
3-time MVP. He was throwing bombs. It was just like stealing. And he's
yeah.
not that guy.
Yeah, the Saints, let me pull it up because 180 yards, 5 yards a carry, just ripping them off in chunks. And that's going to play right into how Greg Roman wants this thing to operate with, I would expect to see a heavy dose of Gus this week just to keep wearing him down, give JK that break after he's the one that put in all the work last week, or just keep riding that hot hand and really just run. Like, this is going to look like the game against the Raiders. It's like, we're going to run the ball. Herb, you're good, man. Kick it. You're fine. Yeah, we're just going to keep being physical, keep going forward, pushing on this defense, and run the ball because they cannot stop the run. This looks like, I think they invested heavily in the offensive line. They spent a ton of money on that offensive line, on the interior of that offensive line. And like I said, they played well. Austin Corbett, Robert Hunt, they played well, but didn't matter. And the other side of the ball is they really struggled. They struggled to stop the run, and then all of a sudden you got play action, shots downfield, and Derek Carr took advantage of it.
See, I think they are going to have success running, and I think you're going to see even the third string running back. I don't surprise if we have 4 guys because you're not going to try to, because the following week, I got Pittsburgh on the line. I think that you're going to see Herbert. I think he's going to throw for 200-300 yards this game because you can. I think you can block them. I think you can. The only reason I'm thinking, no, you're going to run the ball, of course, but you want to save that run game because that following week, that's that black and blue game. Because if you find a way to beat the Steelers that next week, who would have thought? I think the Chargers could be 4-0. If the next week is the game that I have them losing, and I don't want to look beyond Carolina because Harbaugh won't. Harbaugh's going to have these guys ready to play. They're going to play, and it's about who's next. It's not thinking about the Steelers. We in the media, we can think about it. So this is a game that you go out and you take care of business. This is a game that you squeeze the life out of the Carolina Panthers. You hit this young quarterback. You make them shell-shocked. You end it in the first half. You put it on them in the first half so you can get other guys to play. Hey, don't be surprised if you say, look, backups, you guys, let's go out here and do what we need to do because we know what's going to come that next week. This is a game that the Chargers need to dominate.
Yeah, that's a great point. And the opportunity, I think, is there. You saw the blueprint from the Saints, run it down their throat, start using play action. And, when you look, the thing is, when you look at the roster, it's a good roster. Like, they brought in Clowney, whom we know is really good at setting the edge in the run game and can get after it. Shaq Thompson has always been good rushing the passer from the linebacker level. J.C. Horn is a solid corner. They brought in Xavier Woods at safety. But man, something stinks in Charlotte is just kind of how it feels. And they always say it's top down, and Tepper has had some issues with, the fan base, with the front office, with coaches, and how quickly he burns through them. And, here we are. And it's it's an opportunity. I think with the Steelers on tap, who always play a physical brand of football, and it's going to be a slobber knocker like it always is with them.
Yeah.
That's look. You just want to win the game, right? But
yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing you mentioned with the fan base in Carolina. If you go out there and you jump on them, you know how quick they want to start going. Do you know the fan bases? It's, hey, look, they already got motorboated the first week. Now, if you start to turn that fan base, now you're playing in a neutral stadium. That's what the Chargers need to be saying. Hey, look, let's not give these guys hope. Let's show them that they are the worst team in the league. Let's go out and jump on these guys, because if you can start building this momentum and you take care of Carolina and you find a way to beat the Steelers, guess what happens? Now you got Kansas City coming to town. But the fan base, you looked at that game last week. You and I talked about it. It was 50-50, Raider fans, Charger fans. But now if you start this, you know it, how fair weather fans can be. And if the Chargers to find a way to be 3-0, you don't think that's a sellout game that week you come back home? Absolutely. They have a phenomenal opportunity at hand, and that's to go out and take care of Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. You beat them up. You be physical. You show them that you are a playoff and you are a team that is serious. This is a game that Chargers have to win. This is a game that you can't have letdowns. And we've been in this spot before, and you saw these Charger teams give it up. But Harbaugh will not let these guys take this game lackadaisical. He's going to be on them.
Week 2 last year, Tennessee. No business losing that game. No business losing that game. And they end up losing it. 2 years ago, Houston. And was it 3 years ago? It's either 2 or 3 years. I think it was 3 years ago. The Houston game, where they had no business losing that game. And we knew it was going to come back to bite them. And it did. And so that's sort of that's the issue is, making, and there is no lack of focus. But when you're watching the film and you're preparing for this opponent, because they're going to see what we saw, and that's where Harbaugh comes into play, where coaching comes into play. I know what you're watching. I know you're licking your chops. I know, but this is still a team with some really good players. Chuba Hubbard can run the ball. Miles Sanders can run the ball. Adam Thielen's a pro. You got 2 first-round picks in Xavier Legette and Jonathan Mingo. Like, they can still play. You've got a lot of money spent on that offensive line. Aquanu was a top 10 pick at tackle. Like, there are threats out there, and you cannot take them lightly. But it'll be interesting because they've drafted big physical receivers. Mingo, Legette. They're fast, they're physical, they're big. So this is going to be a big tackling. Corners, make sure you tackle, because these guys are strong and they're fast. Like, Legette's not a great route runner, but he's big, he's strong, and he's fast. And so you cannot afford. There were a couple missed tackles, there were a couple dives, and there's a couples like, let's just try to hit them instead of wrap up and drops in that game against the Raiders. Like, that's the one thing. Don't give this team any momentum whatsoever.
And I think that's how Harbaugh's going to coach. Attention to detail. Attention to detail, guys. This is a game that you got to be attention to detail. And like you just alluded to, there's several things that I take away. You think about a game last year. You talked about it, the Raiders, what they did to the Chargers. They motorboated, slapped them all over the field. What was this game about? Revenge. You don't think, and that's what Harbaugh's calling calls. Say, hey, guys, let's watch this tape. Let's watch it as a team. Look at these guys. Like you alluded to, they got some players. They got embarrassed by a team, the Saints, that people think is not, not a great team. They got embarrassed. Do you don't think these men are going to have some pride? If you go out here to Carolina and you think they're just going to lay down to you, these guys get paid, they're going to slap you in the face, and it's going to turn into a ball game. We can still win it, but you don't want to take it to make it tough. Don't make this game harder than what it is. These guys get paid. They have pride. That's the battle call. If I'm Harbaugh, I'm like, look, guys, this is a pride game. This is a pride game for them. They're going to play with some pride. They got embarrassed. Opening day, we have to match their intensity. If we take care of that, our best is good enough.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm looking at it right now. Like, it could end up being a sloppy field. It's supposed to rain all morning long. It's going to be 80 degrees and humid at kickoff. So it's going to be bad conditions. You could have a soft, sloppy field. I don't know if it's turf out there. I think they're a grass field. Might be worth looking up real quick. Sorry, everybody.
But no, while you're looking it up, that's going to be imperative to just the fast start. Get off the bus with your big boy pads on. Go out there, show them what you're made of. And that's what I love about Harbaugh and this team. They are not going to go in here and walk into a buzzsaw because I think they're going to be prepared.
It's field turf. So, it's turf. So at least it won't be super sloppy and wet. But, if it's wet and it's humid and the ball's slippery and things can happen, stuff
Sure.
like that. So, not ideal conditions. But so in terms of like what enough of the Panthers. Like that's what we
Yeah.
saw against the Saints. Couldn't stop the run.
Right.
Couldn't craft a pass rush. Your receiver, and look, it was 30-0 before you
Yeah.
knew it. You had a pick, a fumble,
Right.
and next thing you know, you look up and it's over. So it's kind of hard to read the game as a whole because of how the Saints then began playing once they were up that big. So just in terms of the Chargers, I think it goes back to what we discussed on Wednesday. Get the interior of that line a little more stout against the pass rush, and let's just get started a little quicker.
Right.
Now
Right.
the Raiders got a good defense. They got a really good front.
Yes.
So it's also important to point that out that Spillane and Diablo at the linebacker level, Wilkins and Crosby at the front end level, like they're good players. Hobbs
No,
a
no
good
question.
corner, Merrick's a good safety. Like it's a good D. So
No
it's
question.
important to remember that, but I think it's establish the run right away, make them feel like it's the same thing all over again. You can't stop the run and just start, just kind of build off that from the start of this game.
No question, money. But what if I wanted to go make some money? If I was trying to make some money this weekend, where would I go if I wanted to get some bets in? Because the
Interesting.
Chargers, if I want to win some money with the Chargers, where would I go if I wanted to make some
I would
money?
go to Bet Online personally. That's what I do. It is the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for everything football. They got live odds, they got spreads. You like the way the game looks and you want to get in on it while you're in the middle of the game, they'll do that. You can do it during the game. Plus, they got the mega contest, 200 grand. You pick 5 games
Woo!
against the spread every week. It's a chance at weekly prizes and a share of 200K when it's over. All the football's over, and you want to keep it going. Hit up their online casino, blackjack, poker, over 150 slot games. So head to Bet Online and the website today to get in on the action. Again, that is Bet Online. The game starts here. Well done, though.
See, we might want to
Well
win
done.
some money. We might need to get a little couple parlays and figure it out. But like you alluded to earlier, you're talking about the offensive line and some of the things they did interior. And what were the Raiders able to do? It's the games. You saw it,
Right.
Zion, you saw it. Hey, Zion, great in the run game, but you saw at times the twists, the stunts, guys coming over 2 gaps. The defensive end, Crosby started, in that wide 9 and end up playing inside and at the 4, coming to the
Yeah.
3 position, coming between the center and the guard to get a sack. So I think they got to do a better job of passing off those games. And like you talked about, sure up the interior because Carolina saw that too. And that's what we're going to try to do some stunts because they know the Chargers want to engage. And once the Chargers, they got big physical guys. If they put their hands on you, it's usually hard to come off. So now if they can get guys to do that, engage and make some loop games, that's what I think Carolina's going to try to do because the Raiders had some success.
Remember what I mentioned about the Chargers pass rush and the 6 pressures for Khalil and the 5 pressures for Joey. Here's the Panthers' numbers against a Saints offensive line that used to be exceptional, but due to free agency and some injury, is nowhere near what it used to be. 4 pressures total.
Wow.
Total. 1 for Mike
Wow.
Jackson, who's a corner, came on a corner blitz. Iko Leota had 1. Jadeveon Clowney had 1. And Ashawn Robinson had 1.
Can't win.
That's it. That's for a 60-minute game. Now, again, the Saints started running it. Derek Carr only dropped back 23 times, so there's not as many opportunities. Or they ran at 37, they dropped back 23. So, again, the opportunity's not there, but just take advantage of that. Make sure, and I think it's important to remember, you've got 3/5 of an offensive line that, for all intents and purposes, is new. Obviously, Joe Alt and Bradley Bozeman are new to the team, but Trey Pipkins was playing right tackle. He's learning how to play right guard. So it's understandable that you might have, to take a second to get this thing figured out, to get those 5 fingers on the glove, to work in
Yeah.
concert. But that's what this is for. I thought it is super interesting to hear Coach, kind of describe the gap between, week 1 and week 2 and how big of a jump you can take.
Absolutely. Matt, you're talking about, five fingers, five offensive line, making sure they're handling the heartbeat, understanding what they're getting. Like you alluded to earlier, though, Carolina, four pressures. Yes, Carl only threw the ball 22 times, but four pressures from an NFL team, that's not enough. And that's not going to be enough against this Chargers. The offensive line is good. It's physical. It's just about cleaning up those little things. And I think we'll be 2-0.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, wrap by echoing the sentiment that you shared, or the analysis that you shared earlier, because I think it makes the best sense. This is a game that teams that are championship caliber can take advantage of, and I would love to see the Chargers be able to take advantage of it. They do have some things working against them. It's a cross country trip. It's a 10 a.m. Pacific start. You're off your clock a little bit, but at the same time, you still have an opportunity with what's on film and what they showed in week one. And a lot of times, week one can be a liar. So, again, be careful, be cautious, but it would be nice to see what this team wants to do. Run the heck out of the ball, pound your opponent into submission, and be able to get these guys a little bit of rest in that fourth quarter, if you can manage that, so they can prepare for a physical battle in Pittsburgh the following week. I don't expect it to be easy. It never is. But if they can follow the same game plan the Saints used, and that's pressure the heck out of the quarterback into some mistakes, force some turnovers like they did, 3 of them, 4 if you count the turnover on the downs against the Raiders, that's a path to jumping up 2, 3 scores and being able to maybe get that final 15 minutes where Bosa and Mac and even Thule and Bud can maybe, catch a quick breather.
I would love it. They need to, because hey, we know it's next the following week, but let's go Chargers. Put the foot on the pedal, the gas pedal, and let's get win number 2, baby.
Exactly right. And we'll be back to recap it all next week. I'll be on the East Coast. Lo will be in a familiar spot, and we'll see what it looks like if the waves don't swallow me up and kill me.
No worries. Cheers. Enjoy, man.
All right.
Enjoy.
Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we'll be back next week.